Hello, I'm Pille-Riin and I'm going to present today a research ongoing titled also Notes on Research, The Last Relic. Our relic is our freedom. Meie reliikvia on vabadus is a famous quote from the 1969 movie The Last Relic from Estonia, directed by Grigori Romanov. It is known to be one of the most popular films ever produced in Estonia and for immediately acquiring a cult film status. Also, due to its sacrilegious content, it was prohibited to be shown in Italy and Latin America. Relic. An object surviving from an earlier time, especially one of historical interest, or a part of deceased holy person's body or belongings kept as an object of reverence, or a person or a thing that has survived from an earlier time but is now outmoded. For example, the supermodel has become an embarrassing relic from the early 1990s. Reliikvia, püha säile, õigeusu ja katoliku kirikuis alalhoitav ja austatav säile pühakute ihust või nendega ühenduses olnud esemeist. Piltlikult eriti kallis mälestusese, kallite mälestustega seotu. See vana kell on meie perekonna reliikvia. What does it mean to say that our relic is our freedom? Või täpsemalt, meie reliikvia on vabadus? In both of the languages, it means something differently telling. In Estonian, relic is more sacred, miraculous, dead body of a saint, religion-related, or something for the upper class. It can also be a family heirloom. Both ways, it's a precious object, not an idea, to keep or attain. In English, it also has those meanings, but quite often, it is also paired with an outdated shine, a person or a thing that has survived from an earlier time, but is now outmoded. Is the freedom of a post-Soviet spaces outdated in the post-neoliberal necro-capitalistic world? Today, I wish to talk to you about two different but intertwined in-process case studies. One is the film, The Last Relic, that you saw the clip from, and the other is a trench in a swamp close to Tallinn in Pääsküla bog. First, let's go to the swamp. I recently came across a theory from John Calipinto's book, This is the Voice, that the human voice started its development in the swamp. He states that around 400 million years ago, when a fish found itself often landlocked in swamps during seasonal droughts between water and dry land, it developed through a random gene mutation a little pouch in the throat that could close and open, depending on the governing power, similar to the lungs. It allowed the fish to digest oxygen when on dry, but still survive when in water. This closing mechanism is the same one that our speech apparently relies on after many further developments like rib cage, two lungs, diaphragm. But apparently, the swamps heard the first thing similar to a voice, a prp 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 of a lungfish. I find it somehow very beautiful. Maybe because I have always been a big fan of swamps, due its capacity to confuse land with water, and as an exciting place of melting and forming confusion. Also, the thought that something that allows us to speak developed from a crucial adaptation for survival in an area prone to hypoxia, low oxygen levels.
Tegelikult olen mina Liivimaa parim kasutaja. Kas tõesti? Kõige on maailmal vaja hüppavalast, kes midagi pole kuulnud heast ega kurjast, ei heast ega kurjast, ega viitsib mõeldagi püüdjate paemalast. Kuid püüdjail on vaja just vabalast. Tõenäoliselt armastab vabadust, tahab võita ja vallutada. Vägivald igatseb vabadust, enda najale kagutada. Vägivald armastab vabadust. Põgene vabalaps, see on ainus võimalus. Põgene vabalaps, kui leitud maailma vabadus, kuni veel saab vähegi suuda, kuni veel saab vähegi looda, vähegi põgene vabalaps. Üle kõige on maailmal vaja hüppavalast, kes midagi pole kuulnud heast ega kurjast, ei heast ega kurjast, ega viitsib mõeldagi püüdjate paelust. Kuid püüdjail on vaja just vabalast. Põgene vabalaps, see on ainus võimalus. Põgene vabalaps, vii peitu maailma vabadust, kuni veel saab vähegi suuda, kuni veel saab vähegi looda, vähegi
I welcome this little disturbance. I think it's fitting. There is this one trick one tries in the swamp, where you place yourself in the middle of a wooden pathway, close your eyes, and turn around in unnumbered ways, until you forget which way you came from. Two images melt into one, and you might lose your way. I'm curious if also taking a different route and stepping out of the tracks could be a possibility. More risky for sure, and one would have to be careful to choose where to step. Swamps have been historically sacred places to get lost in, gain insight or refuge. The swamp spirits could drown you, but also, due to swamps being lonely, wet and isolated places, one could seek cover there during the many wars. In the beginning of the 20th century, they started to dry them out with heavy labor in order to gain more profitable land for livestock or for vegetable growth. If we wish to take steps off the track, one should be more friendlier terms with the swamps for sure. As many of you already know, the general geological surface of the Baltic region is rather flat and often swampy. Therefore, I also think that sometimes the artificial land alterations stand out more clearly. The area itself is often like peat, dug up from the bog, holding compressed but still detachable data in it. It hasn't been fully formed into hard coal yet, but at the same time, as peat, it is in the process of decomposing, an endless archive of 1,000 years of unprocessed matters, slowly fading away, but still there somehow, mushy, full of water, but also highly flammable when the water is taken out, or when there's a drought caused by the climate. In one of those swamps close by to Tallinn, that has endured many big fires, I heard a story recently from my baby brother. He's soon to be the age of military service. He and his friends go often with road bikes to race and jump in one of the old Second World War 4-kilometer long military trenches. Weirdly, even though I went to the school close to that same Pääsküla bog and spent most of my teenage years there with yearly physical education class, forest orienting challenges in the swamp, it was the first time I heard that there's a military trace there, so close by to the capital, and still clearly visible. I had to go and see it. It definitely feels like a trench. One can easily feel that they are somehow cosplaying a soldier when they walk in it, looking through their camera viewfinder and hear the shots from the close-by shooting range in the background. Or did I imagine it? The vibe is also definitely dark and uncanny, with high school boys racing fast and doing their best to not jump into the air to crash into the dirt. But the more I look into it, the story becomes more undefined. Either the trench was dug there already as part of Peter the Great named land protection line around 1912 to 1917 as preparation for approaching Germans during the First, not Second, as my brother said, World War, or it could also be just regular trenches dug to drain the swamp. But also, it could be a natural pathway. What is common in all these versions, though, is that no actual bullets were flying there. But what I find highly interesting about this story is when and how it surfaced. It took fire as a bog in recent years, mostly in various Reddit and Facebook pro-military lobby groups, when the expenses have been widely increasing from the tax money to the increased threats from the eastern borders, when NATO troops have been widely relocating to the Baltic states, and when the military land has been increasing, throwing out often farms with multi-generational histories. In south of Estonia, 2/3 of the whole Võrumaa county might become affected by it. Weirdly, one of the most contested conflict subjects, the notorious military polygon Nursipalu, in that region is not too far away from the movie set you saw the horses running on. So I guess I find it curious how that trench was widely unnoticed in the 90s, full of false security, but now is suddenly something everyone sees in the landscape and talks about. Landscape and its meaning and value in constant transition. Our relic is our freedom. Meie reliikvi on vabadus. Is it something that this region can attain?
Üks mees nägi unes taevalikku õiglust, mis ühendab kõik, kes tema eest võitlevad. Üks mees nägi unes taevalikku õiglust ja hakkas seda kuulutama sellest päevast peale. Lõpuks on kõik ainult enesemüümine. Turul kõik me oleme vennad ja õed. Tükkhaaval, juppaaval, päevhaaval, tundhaaval, üksteisel müüme omad usud ja tööd. Üks mees nägi unes taevalikku õiglust, mis ühendab kõik, kes tema eest võitlevad. Üks naine nägi unes taevalikku armastust ja hakkas seda kuulutama sellest päevast peale. Nii kauaks jääb.
Ivo. Ivo ei tule enam siia. Ivol on täna laulatus.
The Last Relic film is by John called the Cape and Sword film. I will summarize, you don't have to read it all. Cape and Sword films explore accounts of adventure, romance, heroic duels, often located in historical or fictitious contexts. They are characterized by charismatic heroes, adventure intrigues, historical or fictional contexts, romance and passion, and epic fights. Cape and Sword films are known by their spectacular sword combat scenes with neat choreographies and memorable duels. Fighting is often key moments in the plot. During the filming of The Last Relic in the late 60s, there were several accidents. The action scenes involving a lot of horse riding and sword fights were performed in large by the actors themselves, without CGI. The actors and actresses kept being recast due to injuries on the set or lack of connective chemistry between them. Sometimes in the movie you can see the scenes that were shot with other actors. Some scenes without their faces being seen remained in the final cut. In the last cast of the film, the lead actress to fill the role of Agnes, Ingrida Andrina, was found from Latvia, and the lead actor for the role of Gabriel, Alexander Koloborodko, from Ukraine. The film itself is fully in Estonian, so the actors had to either read the sentences they didn't fully comprehend, or they were dubbed in the post-production. Somehow, knowing these struggles and aspects make for me the whole process and existence of this film more impressive and telling. The movie seems somehow more real instead of fiction by knowing how it was constructed. They found their lungfish pouch in the air in the bare site. The lead duo Agnes and Gabriel were not so much lead characters, but more combined fantasies of many actors functioning as placeholders for political dreams and their failure. The fact that the movie was shot so heavily focused on action elements made the hidden critique against the Soviet Union possible. The genre itself hid the message of the film. The very romanticized scenes of the peasant rebellion against the German upper class and the church masked the tragic undertone that the film was about a struggle that is, or was, ongoing, about the search for the new relic or freedom that hasn't been figured out yet. At the end, I wish to finish with few questions. Can a symbol of freedom, like a horse, run in a swamp? Should we rather look for more context and landscape-based style of movement that might take us off the road, but down the high imperialist ideas of horse freedom? What kind of lungs must one develop to sustain in geopolitical hypoxia?
Tegelikult olen mina Liivimaa parim tatsutaja.
Kas tõesti?
Kõigel on maailmal vaja üht vaba last, kes midagi pole kuulnud heast ega kurjast, ei heast ega kurjast, ega viitsib mõeldagi püüdjate paelust. Kuid püüdjail on vaja just vaba last. Tõgene
Thank you.
Thank you for the presentation. I was wondering more, maybe if you can share more general in your practice, like the methodology that you use, where you kind of combine, I think we saw now, the film history, like the environment, the like different aspects, and how do you see, what would you say that this kind of approach allows you to convey the message, or to kind of how do you see this kind of methodology in terms of just being like to do like general research, or like historical, or
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's a good question. I mean, my methodology is very much working with the process. Also with the last video I showed about the swamp, it wasn't actually planned that my brother will fall off the bicycle. And he's fine. But it's somehow, I didn't like that he fell off the bicycle, of course, but somehow during the process of filming and going many times, returning to the same place, I always try to observe and also see what the place is telling me, or how the people around me are relating to the place. So I would say that my methodology is slow. And then in a sense of weaving, that is also a big part of my practice, it's kind of similar, that I start with a thread, I follow it, and sometimes different patterns appear without a plan from the beginning. And then I try to do my best to show all those complexities that get added with getting to know more historical facts or life itself somehow intervening. Yeah, to stay open to that somehow.
Yeah, because I think you can really see many layers then of the process and the research, and yeah, thank you.
I hear that. There's a question from that.
First, thanks for the presentation. I'm sorry I late a little bit, but then immediately when I come, I see you totally fit with the costume that you wear now. And watching this actor now, like you are twins.
Yes,
And yeah, beautiful. So why you choose tonight? Okay, I cannot ask question related to the work because I need to process what you are doing. But what it's now this presentation of you in this moment, wearing first wig, putting wig out, and be similar that I can imagine you in the movie right now. So why you choose this?
I think it's very much related to the context now here with this presentation, because so far I know there's one Estonian somewhere in the crowd, and I just also I was thinking of ways how to bring the movie here, because in the region, and I assume also in Latvia, I would be curious about Lithuania, because there was no actors cast from there for the lead roles. It's like a film that everyone knows. So I was also curious of playing with different layers, and also because the film is offensively heteronormative and gender role based, where the blonde woman is the innocent lamb and the symbol of freedom, and then you have this honest guy looking for the big truth. I also was curious of combining those two characters, of at the beginning looking like one and then changing to the other, because I think that's somehow I feel better than even talking about such rigid roles.
I just wanted to kind of reflect as swamps in the Baltic region is a thing for us. Not only I think it's kind of the way we live, but also it gets into our personalities. And it's an interesting place, which in the early times, it was one of the main things which could defend our castles and everything from people, from aggressors that we are seeing happening right now also. So I just wanted to maybe, and later in the discussions, I would turn your presentation more in nowadays. Just how do you see yourself in these movies, which are 50 years ago, done 50 years ago? How do you because I have a lot of connection with this because of they are speaking in beautiful lyrical words, and yes, of course, it's kind of basic in the 60s, 70s notion of film. In the Soviet times, also we have to consider it's not Kubrick, or it's quite a different kind of film. So what do you see of your parts where you find some kind of home feel? I don't know, some answers, because I sometimes find answers in these kind of movies also about freedom and what is freedom then and now. We have a lot of freedom, but how do we feel about it? Swamps?
Yeah. It is in the beginning that you say, I'm fascinated with the swamp.
Oh yeah, so the swamp, yeah. Yeah.
What he was thinking that is this. She's sorry, but let him understand.
Yes. So this is the...
It's a beautiful but scary thing.
Yeah, so this is one of the swamps that I was also talking about, and usually you have also like these roads because you might sink into the land. Now I forget a bit about the question, but the connections with, I like to unearth some old cultural stories and see how much is there like parallels. So I think with this film also, because it's like this cult film that you have so many sayings from, that became like this, that people that even don't or haven't watched the film would know this as a saying, like certain like this, our relic is our freedom, or certain kind of things. I think the movie is very present on daily life, but I think it's not maybe always done justice, how political it actually was, and how political was the process of making it. And because at the end of the film, it also ends with, not with the scene where what was at the beginning, that it just destroyed the relic, but it also ends with a song where it says that we have to rethink what a relic could be. So I find it like very current to the times that we live at the moment, because also we are not anymore in the 90s where, to my eyes or my observation, one of the main goals was to be part of the Western Europe, or where we are placed now, and get away as far away as possible from the Soviet Union past, but also from each other, living in Baltic or more in the north. So I think like these ideas of like what freedom was in the 90s and what it is now is for me like a very big question, because I think a lot of those things that we needed to secure certain independence and making allies, we also should think until what limit and with whom and on what cost. So that's also why I wanted to return to this film. Yeah.
Thank you. I think
Yes.
we're out of time for now.
But we will continue
Yes.
later.
So then.